Failing makes you wiser, it gives you experience, and it changes your approach towards. Yep, the title of this video is 100% true. Not only did I fail my captain's exam once, I failed it twice. And so I'm going to tell you the reasons behind the failure. I'm going to explain to you what it takes to get up to that point to be able to sit an MCA Master 3000 oral exam. And so let's get straight into it. So all my captain's tickets has all been issued by the MCA, which is the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, which is the UK authority for licensing. And so the way it works in yachting, to get to that level where you can sit your MCA oral exam, you've got to start from the very beginning. So you acquire your first job on a yacht. You need to get what's called your RYA Yacht Master Offshore. And then from there, once you have that, you need to get 3 years working on board yachts and complete a book called the Training Record Book, which gives you a list of tasks to do on board, things to complete, certain training, drills, all those kind of things you expect when working on board a commercial yacht. Once you've completed your 3 years and your training record book, now bear in mind this is minimum, you then can go on and do what's called your Officer of the Watch modules. And so you go to a maritime school which is MCA recognized, and you sit all the modules. Now you need to pass all these modules, and once you've passed on the modules, you've verified your sea time, you completed your training record book, you send it to the MCA in the UK. They process all your paperwork, and if they're happy with everything, they will issue you with what's called a NOE, which is a Notice of Eligibility. Once you have that NOE, you can then go back to MCA Exam Center and apply for a date that a MCA examiner will come sit with you and sit what's called your oral examination. Before we continue, I'm delighted to announce that today's video has been brought to you by the Ridge Wallet. It holds up to 12 cards, plus there's room for cash. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. The wallet has over 40,000 5-star reviews. The durable material means each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. The Ridge team is so confident that you'll like it, they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. You can send it back for a full refund if you don't love it. It's made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. So be sure to use my link in the description box below. Use discount code SYC to get 10% off. That's discount code SYC to get 10% off. Thanks again to the Ridge Wallet for sponsoring today's video. Should you pass the oral examination, you can then apply for what's called your OOW COC. You then need to, if you want to move up to Master 500, you need to do an additional year or 2 of sea time and go back and do what we call the Master modules. Once you complete all the modules, you complete the sea time, it's been verified, you can then send it off to the MCA and they will issue you with your second NOE to do the oral exam for your Master 500. And then once you've passed your Master 500, you then have to do another year or 2. I can't remember exactly. I think it's like 120 days or 240 days. It changes. And with this one though, going from the Master 500 to Master 3000, you don't need to do any more modules. So then once you get your sea time verified, you apply to the MCA and you can then sit your MCA Master 3000 oral exam. Just bear in mind, all the timing I'm giving you, it's all minimal requirements. Most people take a lot longer. You know, in my case, it took me from when I started yachting, and I didn't want to do it in the shortest amount of time as possible, but it took me 17, 18 years until I passed my MCA Master 3000. And that was a goal. That is the license that I wanted to get once I started my yachting career. I then had all the documentation. I applied for my MCA Master 3000 Notice of Eligibility, and then I booked the oral exam at the MCA Exam Center in Liverpool. So before you do these exams, in most cases, what students will do, they will go to a maritime school, do what we call a oral prep week, where you go there for, some people go for a week, some people go for 2 weeks, some people go for a couple of days. Everybody's a bit different. And what they do there, they essentially prepare you for the oral exam. So they know more or less what is going to be asked in these oral exams. You can never know for certain. Every examiner is different and it can change on a daily, weekly, monthly basis depending on how they're feeling. It's to the examiner's discretion what they want to ask you. To put it in perspective, these examiners, they're all master mariners. They've all been at sea for decades and decades and decades. So they're very knowledgeable, wise, experienced seafarers. Did my oral prep, went into the exam, and it was going okay. And I think I made one or two mistakes, and the examiners said, you failed. And then I did the exact same thing the second time. What I mean by the same thing is my approach towards the exam was the same, but changed a few things. But overall, it was the same. Then I failed again. After I failed, I was pretty pissed off, to be honest. You put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. I think this is taking me years and years and years to get to the point where I can sit my MCA Master 3000 exam. And then you realize, you blame the examiner, you blame this, you blame that, and they're not to blame, right? It's all down to you. They are not there to fail you. They want to pass you. In an examiner's mind, what they are thinking is, can I trust this individual? Or better said, would I trust this individual with my life on board a ship? In an emergency, is he going to know what to do? Is he going to lead his crew to safety? Is he going to maintain the safety of the vessel? Does he understand the rules and regulations, the laws, the requirements of being a master? Is he going to make sure the environment is safe? And then there's obviously all subcategories to that. And one of those is coal regs, and you can't fail on coal regs. Now, coal regs are collision regulations, right? So then when it came to the third time, I thought, I can't do the same thing again, because that's the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I did quite a extreme change. So although I went to do the prep week again, but when I went into the exam room, my mindset was completely different. My approach to answering the questions was completely different. So in the first two exams, what I was doing, I was thinking about, what do I think the examiner wants to hear? And what did the instructors tell me to say should he ask that question in the exam situation? Not word for word, but I'm generalizing here. But in the third exam, my approach was completely different. What I did, I referred everything back to what we did on board Motor Yacht AWOL, how we did it on Motor Yacht AWOL, and why we did it the way we did on board Motor Yacht AWOL. And then he, as the examiner, could see, oh, this guy is doing all this stuff already on board his vessel, and he is already the captain on board that vessel. So it's questions like, ISM, International Safety Management. He was asking things like permits to work. What do you do in an emergency situation? The drills that we do on board. What are you going to do when you come to a new boat and you're taking over as master? What are you going to do with new crew coming on board? And then we get into things like MARPOL, which is marine pollution, MLC, which is the Maritime Labour Convention, no hours of work and rest. And so everything, although whether it was right or wrong, or if he agreed with it or not, he could see that I was referring back to what we did on board Motor Yacht AWOL, and I was using my experience as captain on board AWOL to answer his questions. Because I thought about it, he is probably examining multiple candidates every single day, and they are all telling him what their instructors from the maritime school told them to say. Whereas in my case, he could see that I'm just using my experience and my knowledge. And I was in and out of that exam. I think, if I remember correctly, it was something like 45 minutes. We just absolutely just chopped it down. And I was a lot more comfortable in the exam because I was telling him things that we do every day on board AWOL. And when we do things like our crew meetings, our drills, I was referring to what we did on board Motor Yacht AWOL. So the message I want to put out here is, I know a lot of individuals coming into yachting, or just young people in general, watch these videos. Yes, you're allowed to be frustrated by your failures, but the most important thing that I've learned is people can see failure as a bad thing. It's not. Failing makes you wiser it gives you experience, and it changes your approach towards things. Okay, so as soon as I changed my mindset towards failure, it actually made me a better examinee and pass the exam. It's interesting, isn't it? A lot of people with that CP that are successful, they don't see the road they took to get to their success. They see that just that successful bit. Everybody, all successful people, trust me, have failed, and it's the way you allow failure to affect you. Okay, so take it from me, somebody that's been in the business for 2 decades. Still can't believe that. It's a good thing to fail. I understand it takes time, it costs money, but it's only going to improve your skills and your knowledge. If you want to see how I became a super yacht captain, my journey, watch this playlist right here. Guys, I look forward to seeing you next time.